Welcome to Fear Files, where the echoes of history resonate with chilling whispers. Join us as Sebastian navigates a perilous path between worlds, uncovering secrets that threaten to unravel the very fabric of existence. Welcome to a realm where every artifact holds a story and every whisper hints at untold horrors. Welcome to Fear Files.
The fog clung to the ground like a shroud, thick and unyielding, as Mac Harrison led his team up the winding driveway to Sebastian Drake's mansion. The massive structure loomed ahead, its dark silhouette barely discernible through the dense mist. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay, setting an ominous tone that made the hairs on Mac's neck stand on end. Mac, a seasoned thief with a reputation for daring heists, glanced back at his crew. Lisa, the tech expert, adjusted her glasses, her face illuminated by the faint glow of her handheld device. Tony, the muscle of the group, flexed his fingers, his bulk barely contained by the black jacket he wore. Danny, the nimble-fingered locksmith, fidgeted with his tools, a nervous energy radiating from him. They were an unlikely band of thieves, brought together by a common goal, the promise of a big score. "Remember, we're here for the antiques," Mac whispered, his voice barely audible over the rustling of leaves in the cold night breeze. He tried to sound confident, but there was an edge to his tone that didn't escape the others. "Got it, boss," Danny replied, his voice shaky but determined. The others nodded in agreement, their eyes reflecting the shared mix of excitement and trepidation. The mansion's grandiose exterior did little to hint at the darkness within. Tall windows, shrouded by heavy curtains, stared blankly out into the night. The front door, an imposing slab of aged oak, seemed to guard the secrets of the past with silent vigilance. Mac hesitated for a moment, the weight of unseen eyes pressing down on him before he motioned for Danny to step forward. Danny worked quickly, his fingers dancing over the lock with practiced ease. The soft click of the mechanism giving way was almost too loud in the oppressive silence. With a shared glance, they pushed the door open and slipped inside, swallowed by the mansion's cavernous maw. Inside, the air was even thicker, laden with the musty scent of old wood and forgotten memories. The entry hall was vast, lined with dusty portraits of stern-faced ancestors whose eyes seemed to follow their every move. The floorboards creaked underfoot, a reminder of the mansion's age and the countless secrets it held. Mac took a deep breath, trying to shake off the feeling of unease that had settled over him since they arrived. "Stick to the plan," he instructed. "We split up, gather what we can, and meet back here in an hour." The team dispersed into the labyrinthine halls, each drawn by the promise of hidden treasures. Mac found himself moving almost instinctively towards a room at the end of a long corridor. The door was different from the others, adorned with strange symbols and carvings that seemed to writhe in the dim light. It called to him, a silent siren song that he couldn't ignore. He pushed the door open and stepped inside, the temperature dropping noticeably as he crossed the threshold. The room was filled with shelves of peculiar artifacts, ancient masks, dusty tomes, and eerie statues. Each item seemed to hum with an almost imperceptible energy, sending a chill down his spine. "What the hell is this place?" he muttered, stepping further into the room. The air was thick with an oppressive silence, broken only by the soft rustle of his movements. He reached out to touch a small, intricately carved box, feeling a strange compulsion to take it. Meanwhile, in another part of the mansion, Lisa was busy cataloging valuable items. Her keen eyes scanned each piece, her fingers deftly moving over her handheld device as she recorded her finds. She had just picked up a delicate, ornate mirror when a whispering voice filled her ears. "Release me." Lisa spun around, her heart pounding in her chest. The room was empty, but the whispering persisted, growing louder and more insistent. She looked at the mirror in her hand, the surface rippling like disturbed water. Terrified, she dropped it, the glass shattering on the floor. The whispers, however, only intensified, echoing in her mind. In the main hall, Tony and Danny were busy prying open a large chest, their breath fogging in the air as an unnatural cold settled over them. The temperature drop was sudden and severe, sending a shiver through Tony's massive frame. "Did you feel that?" Tony asked, his voice trembling with more than just the cold. "Yeah, and I don't like it," Danny replied, his eyes darting around nervously. "Let's just get what we can and get out of here." But it was too late. The lid of the chest snapped shut with a force that nearly took Tony's fingers with it. The ground beneath them began to shake, a low rumble that seemed to come from the very bowels of the mansion. Ghostly apparitions emerged from the walls, their eyes glowing with a malevolent intent that sent both men scrambling backwards. Back in the artifact room, Mac's focus was broken by the distant sound of screams. He grabbed the small box, clutching it tightly as he rushed to the door. But as he reached for the handle, the door slammed shut on its own, the artifacts around him beginning to move of their own accord. The whispers in the room grew louder, more insistent, the voices of the long-dead artifacts clamoring for release. "Return what is ours." The words echoed in Mac's mind, a chorus of tormented souls that sent a wave of panic through him. He fought to open the door, but it was as if an invisible force held it shut, the weight of centuries pressing down on him. Panic surged through him as the whispers turned to screams, the spirits within the artifacts manifesting as shadowy figures that closed in around him. He finally managed to wrench the door open, stumbling out into the corridor. His heart pounded in his chest as he raced back towards the entry hall, the distant screams of his team urging him on. The mansion seemed to shift and change around him, the corridors stretching and twisting in ways that defied logic. By the time he reached the main hall, the scene was one of chaos. Lisa was huddled in a corner, her eyes wide with terror and her body shaking uncontrollably. Tony and Danny were nowhere to be seen, their earlier bravado now replaced by a deafening silence. "Lisa, we have to go!" Max shouted, grabbing her arm and pulling her to her feet. But before they could move, a figure stepped out of the shadows, his presence exuding a chilling calm. Sebastian Drake. The reclusive antiques collector was an imposing figure, his eyes cold and calculating. He looked at Mac and Lisa with a mixture of pity and disdain. "You've made a grave mistake coming here," he said, his voice smooth and menacing. "These artifacts are bound to this place, and now, so are you." The spirits surged forward, their touch freezing and painful. Mac fought desperately to reach the door, dragging Lisa with him, but it was as if the mansion itself conspired against them. Doors slammed shut, walls shifted, and the air grew thick with an oppressive, otherworldly force. As the spirits closed in, Mac's last thought was a bitter realization of the true cost of his greed. The mansion's secrets were not meant to be disturbed, and now they had awakened, hungry for vengeance. The darkness swallowed them, leaving the mansion silent once more, its deadly collection waiting for the next unwitting visitors drawn by greed and curiosity. The fog rolled back in, thick and unyielding, as the mansion stood silent and foreboding. Inside, the artifacts hummed with a malevolent energy, their spirits sated, for now. Sebastian watched from the shadows, a satisfied smile playing on his lips. His collection was intact, its power undeniable. The mansion waited, as it always did, for the next group of fools to succumb to its deadly allure.
Thank you for joining us on Fear Files. Stay tuned for more chilling tales where fear meets fascination and explore the depths of history's darkest secrets. Subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss an episode as we journey deeper into the unknown. Until next time, may you find courage in the face of the collector's wrath.